Hi, my name is Barb Nangle. I'm the founder of Higher Power Coaching and Consulting. I want to welcome you to my podcast, Fragmented to Whole, Life Lessons from 12-Step Recovery. This is episode 34. Anything mentionable is manageable. I saw the Mr. Rogers movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the other night. It was fantastic. I recommend that anybody go see it, but I especially recommend it for people in recovery. One thing that he said in the movie really struck me, and it was this. He said, "Death is a human experience, and any human experience is mentionable, and anything mentionable is manageable." What a great sentiment. First, any human experience is mentionable. That was news to me. For so much of my life, I got the message that there were all kinds of things about the human experience that were unmentionable, especially things that related to our family's dysfunction, to mental health issues, to our bodily function, spirituality, feelings, substance abuse. But to hear anything human is mentionable was just amazing to me. What a gift. What a gift to give that message to people, and especially to children. And then to bring it a step further, he said anything mentionable is manageable. Whoa! I cannot help but think of steps 1 and 5 when hearing those things. Part of step 1 is that we acknowledge that our lives have become unmanageable. And he's saying if it's mentionable, it's manageable. We have to actually acknowledge, to mention that we're powerless and that our lives have become unmanageable before we can ever get to manageability. And then there's step 5, where we admit to ourselves and another human being and to our higher power the exact nature of our wrongs. We mention those things out loud, and then they become manageable. This also reminds me about what I learned about putting my spinning thoughts into writing to make them manageable. If you listen to my episode on overcoming negative thought loops, you heard that one of the tools I learned for managing my negative thought loops was to put them in writing, put those thoughts in writing. That's because it's no longer a loop. It becomes linear when you write it. And you can see that it's finite. It has a beginning and it has an end. In other words, those thoughts become manageable. Another gem I heard recently about the process of writing out our thoughts as opposed to thinking in loops was that when we write, we don't write the same things over and over and over again the way we might do when we think. I love that we can make things manageable. Now, back to the movie. The fact that he even brought up death, especially as a beloved children's TV show host, is astonishing in this society where we don't deal very well with death. In fact, that was a question posed to him by the reporter in the movie. He asked why Mr. Rogers deals with such heavy topics with children, such as war and divorce and death and feelings. And Mr. Rogers made it clear that he was trying to help children understand that feelings are normal, no matter how big they are, no matter how unmanageable they might seem. There are ways to make our feelings manageable. And that is actually what happened for the reporter in the movie. He learned that his feelings were manageable and how to manage them. An example of how Mr. Rogers showed all this rather than just said it is in a scene in the movie where he was filming an episode of his TV show and he was trying to set up a tent in the episode, but he was unable to do it after multiple attempts. After that scene, the reporter asks him, why didn't you have the crew set the tent up for you before you started filming? And Mr. Rogers said, children need to know that even adults make plans that don't work out. The word that Mr. Rogers used in that scene when he couldn't get the tent up, and he actually used it in a number of scenes, was the word mercy. When he couldn't get the tent up and he kept failing at it, he said simply, mercy. He didn't say, God damn it, or fuck this shit, or this thing is a piece of shit, which is what I was taught to do when frustrated. And those were the kinds of things I've said for most of my life when angry or frustrated that things weren't going my way. But he said mercy, which makes me think of the phrase, Lord, have mercy on me. Instead of damning a problem or cursing a problem, we can ask for mercy on the problem. Imagine that. I've heard that you cannot solve a problem by condemning it, but I didn't hear that until I was in recovery. I spent my life trying to condemn my problems, and myself and others for that matter, as a way to solve the problems, to fix the problems. But we can ask for mercy instead. We can ask for mercy. That means we are so much more likely to go by our higher power's will than ours. Imagine that. And imagine that would make things so much more manageable. Now, this idea of everything human is mentionable and everything mentionable is manageable is profound to me on so many levels. I think that it's worth seeing the movie just for that one scene, which is near the end, by the way. But there's so much more in the movie. It makes me wish that I had watched Mr. Rogers when I was little. I'm not really sure why I didn't. I had thought that it came on as a show after I was of the age to watch it, but I just looked it up and I was 5 when it came on, which would have been perfect. But at least I get to learn from him now. And with the wonders of modern technology, I could go back and watch his show if I really wanted to. Talk about a man who was happy, joyous, and free. Thanks, Mr. Rogers. Thanks for helping me to see that, yes, it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's it for today. If you like what you've heard here, then you just might be interested in private coaching with me. If that sounds like you, head on over to my website, which is higherpowercoachingandconsulting.com, and click on the contact menu. I'd be happy to schedule a consultation with you to help you make lasting changes in your life, like I've made deep, lasting changes in my life. My ideal client is someone who is ripe for change, but I'll coach anyone who wants to be happy, joyous, and free. So if that's you, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe so you can be sure to get future episodes of my podcast. Thanks again.